Yeah. Start this, I love you.
Hey, everybody.
Good evening.
Hello.
Hello.
It looks like I can't start my
What, Jordan?
can't start my camera.
Oh. That's okay. That's a very nice picture of you.
Thanks. I'll change it though.
You look like a rabbi.
Yeah, right, huh?
Hey, is Sue near you?
She's upstairs.
Tell her Par has like 11, a little north of 11 in the Par account.
Hey, Sue. Lee says par is a little north of 11 in the par account. Lee says a par has a little north of 11 in the account. Lee said that par has 11, a little north of 11 in the account. Thanks, Lee.
Let's shoot. Race. Hey, welcome, Jason. Hey, I know where Grace is, but we're being recorded, so meeting's called to order at 7:01. I want to be prompt. So everybody state your name for the record. Lee Wessler.
Crystal Adams.
Pamela Spaeth.
Jordan Stern.
Lori Barefoot.
Jean Pillow.
Jason, you may state your name.
Hi.
Hi. Okay, so no alternates to seat. Has anyone had a chance to look at the minutes, and is there any discussion or motion to approve?
I did look at the minutes. And it's mostly right. Pollinator Pathway Project, it's a regional conservation partnership, not coordinators meeting. So it's a minor thing of words.
Anyone else have any comments or addendums? And if not, is there a motion to approve the minutes?
Make a motion to approve the minutes.
Okay, we have Jordan, is there a second?
Crystal
Second.
Adams, I second it.
Okay, Crystal seconds. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
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 Any
Aye.
opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, public participation. I see Ray Morgan's joining us. Mr. Morgan, do you have anything to bring forth to this august body, or are you just listening in for us? Okay. Yeah, hopefully Grace gets here for the treasurer's report. So chairman's report, welcome Jason Allard. Jason, do you want to give us a little, your background and what, some of your goals joining us?
Sure. So I actually, you guys caught my attention most recently with the campaign regarding Eversource. I saw a couple posts on that. Conservation is something that has generally been important to me for maybe not my whole life, but for a long time. One of those things.
Jason, your connection is not good.
Oh. Okay. I'll keep it very brief.
Oh, there you go.
Can you move closer to your mic?
How's that? Is that any better?
That is
Yes.
better.
So okay, I'm just sticking my face in the computer for now. I'm just generally very interested in conservation, and the timing worked out for me where my kids are kind of starting to head out into college, and I just find myself saying, I have some time to commit to things that are important to me. And while I was kind of reviewing, I came across some posts regarding Eversource and their plans in Woodstock, and I thought, well, geez, this is really just kind of the perfect mix of things that are important to me and my time to contribute. So I went to the town and said, how do I volunteer? And they said, oh, just sign up here. Here's a form. And we'll review you, and we'll review your background and see if you're a good fit. So that's kind of was my impetus. I have a degree from, not that I have a lot of experience kind of professionally, but I have a degree from UConn Law. I have a little bit of background in land use and thought I might be able to contribute.
Yeah, yes, you will.
Well, we welcome you.
Thank you.
So just a little background that the conservation is it's a little bit of a misnomer. Our committee is kind of a subcommittee of planning and zoning, and our missions are to review subdivisions. We're kind of the yin to the developer's yang. So we're there to make sure that impact on our town environmentally is minimal. We also are supposed to look over town or watch over town-owned land, and we also kind of oversee forestry. But that said, we kind of embraced the term conservation. So all of us have had various projects having to do with conservation and the environment. I got solar energy kind of going in Woodstock years ago. Jean's done a lot with the streams, and she has a pollinator pathway project. We have the Eversource project. Crystal has a Sustainable Connecticut project. So any project that you feel you would want to undertake and feel that our committee could give you any sort of help, that's what we're here for.
Perfect. Awesome. I'm happy to help out with what's going on for now. So thank you.
Lee,
Yes, Jean.
as the person who's been on the Conservation Commission the longest, I think
Yes.
it's 23 years this year. We are actually an advisory committee to the town of Woodstock, including the Board of Selectmen, the Open Space Land Acquisition Group, Planning and Zoning Wetlands, the whole shebang, not just the Planning and Zoning Commission. We kind of took on a front and center role with planning and zoning with developing, reviewing development proposals, but that's only a portion of our charge. So
Okay.
I wanted to correct you.
Thank you, Jean. Okay, any communications for us, Crystal?
This is Crystal speaking. Grace was at the town hall this afternoon and she's joining us now. It looks
Oh.
like she had picked up communications. So
Okay, we're back up.
she is in the process of joining her. Hi, Grace.
You're still connecting.
I'll take a moment just to correct something I said too. So to be clear, I've had, while we're waiting for her to connect, I said background in land use, and I think a much better word is education use. Just to be clear, that's not. I don't have any kind of professional background in that area.
Yes, but you're still light years ahead of anybody else here. Grace, anything, treasurer's report, Grace?
Yeah, basically, I did go in today. What they have on record is exactly as it was, meaning our Fund 25. Excuse me?
No, that was just
Okay.
noise back.
Anyway, on our Fund 25, we still have $2,161.22. What they are showing on budget is $1,656.12. I did go in and sign the $1,000 to go to ECCD. So that'll show on next month. And that'll bring us down to $656 for the remainder of the year.
Okay, and then I sent the Board of Selectmen our budget proposal, which is the same for next year.
Good, yeah.
Did you pick up any communications, Grace?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
They re-upped both Pam, her membership goes through March 31st, 2027. And Jim was reassigned again through March 31st, 2026. I did look at some other things. Oh, and Jason is now on the board.
Oh,
I did-
congratulations.
Yes.
Thank you.
And he's through, well, actually, this is interesting. They only have him starting as of April 1st, 2023. But we won't get into that because the numbers they have for basically a lot of us are wrong. I will go back in the office if it ever stops snowing and ask them to. I drove home in that, I want you to know, because I was sitting at town hall. But they've got some very off numbers here for the terms, and it needs to be explained. So I'll talk to Judy, when she gets back in the office. She was not in. I was told she is out sick, so. But anyway, I am working on it, and I did send Jason an email, and he did respond. So welcome, Jason, and we'll go from there.
Grace, do we currently have any alternates, or is everybody a member?
Yeah, no, Jim is an alternate and Jason is an alternate.
Jason's an alternate, okay, because the email I got was he was a member, okay, and then I have to.
No, the
okay.
email, well, the official letter, which was dated supposedly the 19th,
Yeah.
he was put on
Yeah.
as an alternate.
Okay, I didn't get the official letter. I just got that he was applying.
Okay.
So Jason,
Lee,
so
I
the seating of the alternates, Jason, you're seated, as a full voting member today.
You're now seated as an alternate. Okay.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
as
yeah.
I
No,
said,
he's
I-
seated as a
the
member.
official
He can
letter.
vote. He can vote today.
well, he could vote anyway, unless we have a full quorum.
Right, that's what the seating of the alternate means. He's allowed to vote because there's not 10 members here.
Okay. Well, as I say, there are some other issues, but I will get to that sometime this month and figure out what's going on.
They say when I was good, Grace.
What?
They say when Jordan was good until.
Let's see. Jordan, here you are. Technically until March 31st of 26.
Thank
So
you.
you're stuck for a while, bud,
Yeah, right. No problem.
whether you like it or not.
Yeah, right.
No, but I have some issues. They've got, well, as a matter of fact, Jean, your supposed term is up on on March 21st of this year.
Again?
Yeah, that's, I said, this listing is wrong. I will have to, as I say, it went from being in the selectman's office to the responsibility of Judy. And I think when it changed, things got a little confusing. So I will check with it this month, I promise.
Well, the dates are staggered so that we'll always have experienced and new people together serving
Yes,
on the
I know.
commission. So I
Mhm.
don't recall. I just remember the last time I was re-upped, they forgot to send me notification and I got dropped off the commission for 2 months until that got
Yeah.
straightened out. So I don't remember what year it was. It feels like yesterday. So that's why I said again.
Well, as I said,
Yeah,
it-
it was
there
before.
are some
Right,
issues. I am
so-
gonna go in and
So-
find that out because,
Grace,
yes.
I don't think the selectman's office was ever in charge of setting the dates. As long as we've been in there, that's always come from the town clerk as far as the dates.
well, the records were kept in the selectman's office
At what
because
point-
that's where I checked them
At what
before
point?
you were there.
Okay, I mean, I know
So,
there's still records in our office, like the applications are in our office, the applications come to our office. Because our office puts together the agenda, but the dates come from the clerk's office.
well, as I said, I will be annoying you
Not me.
and or Judy several
Okay.
times.
I have nothing to do with the dates, so please.
Yeah,
don't-
I understand that. But anyway, moving on.
Moving on. Any other communications?
Yes. Okay. Buckle your seatbelts. We got a letter from the Last Green Valley. And they have been charged with and are trying to set up informational postings on any trails. And they wanted to know if we had any trails we wanted them to assess for peoples with disabilities specifically. They've made some very nice samples of the signage for different trails. For instance, they showed a copy of the one that's for the airline trail in Pomfret, or I guess Thompson. Anyway,
Well,
if we have any trails that we wanted them to evaluate and put a, have a sign on them so that people know it's there. And they will, as I say, the assessment goes into, it tells you the length of the trail, the elevation, the grade, the cross slope, tread width, the surface, obstructions. It's very extensive. And they, as I say, they have offered if we would like them to evaluate any of the trails that we have, that we can write a letter and ask them to do that. They also preface it with, we will respond to requests on a first come, first served basis and conduct assessments as our capacity and the weather allow. So if we think we have any trails that we would like them to assess, and this is mostly, obviously, this is to be in keeping with disabilities. I don't know what the acronym is. But
ADA,
there you
American
go.
Disabilities Act.
But anyway, it's out there. If we think we want them to get involved, we just have to contact Lynn as she's the office coordinator. So,
Lyanne.
huh?
Her name is Lyanne. I'm
Okay, so for whatever. the
I'm
office
familiar with
coordinator.
this project they do, and they have this specially equipment that is put on this thing that looks like a three-wheeled stroller, and it's really cool. And knowing the criteria they're looking for, because they're looking for wheelchair accessibility, I don't believe any of our trails would comply. The only one that might comply, but it's probably even a stretch, is the one at the beaches.
Yeah,
So
well,
I haven't been to that trail for a while. Would like to take a walk on it, and see what other people think. If anybody wants to make a date to go for a mile-long loop trail walk at the beaches, I'd be happy to have you join me.
When are you gonna go?
what?
When are you gonna go? This is Jordan. When are you gonna go?
I don't have a date yet. It depends on my availability and the people who want to do this. We can work on that.
I'll take my motorized scooter with me.
I'm sorry, Jordan, you're not coming through.
I'll take my motorized scooter with me.
Well, I would like to go walk the trail first to see if the motorized scooter is appropriate for the trail. There is some steep sections in that trail that might not be appropriate for that type of equipment, but that's something we need to determine, and that's the purpose of it. I mean,
Well, again, at that point, we need to get in touch with Lyanne Graff and tell her that we do have an interest. Who would like to write that letter?
I can
Well,
contact
first we have
Lyanne.
to,
Yeah, first I think we need to look at it
yeah,
to really.
Okay,
I mean, we don't have any hard pack gravel, which is an issue for, using mobility devices on a trail. So, again, I'd have to go look at the condition of the trail. I haven't been on it in years. And, it's, knowing what they're looking for, I would probably be the best person to actually decide if it's appropriate or not.
well, then you can do that. Thank you.
what
Other
else you
than
got,
that,
Grace?
that's it for,
Okay. So moving on to old business, Gene, DRC.
I have no new information to report. I've been trying to go through the planning and zoning minutes to see what happened with the decision about activity on a scenic road for Center Cemetery Road, and I haven't found any updates on that in the minutes that I have looked at so far.
Yeah, I agree.
Have you seen anything?
No, the last I heard, they were gonna have another like public hearing, I thought.
I think I think they made a decision.
I was gonna
They
say,
did?
I thought I saw something that
Yeah.
it was,
Okay, I didn't receive any note on it.
Well, I
So
don't know, if Jeff or anyone on the, I mean, I don't know who would send you that, but I believe a decision was made.
It's normally, we find it in the meeting minutes, which are now being sent to us, through email. And sometimes I don't remember to open them if I've got a lot of
I-
stuff on my plate, but I don't remember
Okay.
seeing
I mean, the minutes are on the website also.
Yeah, are there
Yeah.
minutes? I didn't see a meeting for December minutes yet. Because that's when they would have had to have,
Yeah,
I was on-
December 15th. The minutes are up.
oh, the
I looked-
5th, so it would have been before our last meeting.
I didn't see anything in the December 15 minutes about the Center Cemetery Road decision.
Yeah, I don't
and
know.
that would have been after our meeting, Lee. Our meeting was the 12th.
Okay. Hang on, let me see if I got that. Hang on.
Yeah, it wasn't minutes, I mean, but I saw something about it. I really don't remember where it was, but I do believe, Crystal, you're right. I mean, they did make a decision. Of course, I don't remember what it was, but
Yeah, look at the minutes on December 1st. It looks like that was the last public hearing. And then under old business, activity on a scenic road, they made a motion to accept the modified plan as proposed with leeway on pipe sizes and sump sizes. Let me copy, it's right here.
Yeah, that must be, so that was before our last meeting.
yeah.
Because I had the minutes from December 15th don't mention anything there.
That's because this happened,
Yeah,
I think, December 1st.
right,
Yeah.
gotcha.
So I just put the link to it in the chat.
Yeah, and I didn't get,
No, I'm looking and I don't see that I was sent any notification of meeting minutes from December 1st.
Have you gone to the website and signed?
I know I haven't gone to the website. I
That would
usually
be-
click on the emails.
oh,
when they come in.
okay. I got it, here it is.
I'm gonna put that link in here.
Yeah. So John Navara submitted revisions. They're gonna taper it 2 to 3 feet wider at the dry hydrant, removing hazardous dead trees. Include items, but instead of chip seal, they would extend, let's see. Would include the items in the original proposal, but instead of chip seal, the apron, hot asphalt, it would include the items in the original, would extend just past the last catch basin to the north. The apron would have a single chip seal applied the following season to make it appear more like gravel. The landscape drains would be installed. Widening for the dry hydrants will be done. And they'll clear roadside dishes, regrade gravel portions, and address drainage maintenance issues.
Sounds like some of the advice that we provided
Yeah,
was actually included in their
Yeah.
final decision.
yeah.
I mean, I'm looking through phase 2.
You can also watch the entire meeting. There's the link at the top of the minutes if you want to see a more detailed analysis of what happened.
Okay, so. So it passed unanimously, so like, I guess everybody, was satisfied. But yeah, it sounds like they included some of the original stuff we proposed. Okay. Anything else, Gene?
The only thing that I saw in their upcoming planning and zoning agenda is consideration for an Airbnb on Beaver Dam Road. And I don't believe that's anything we need to comment on.
Right, that's under P and Z report, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, Grace, you have something to say?
No,
Okay. Crystal, open space?
Yeah, we met
Report.
on the 12th of January, and I gave them a report about the Eversource tree cutting and our November meeting, and reminded them about the public meeting on January 18th. We also talked about our budget for this year, and talked a little bit about the getting a list of town-owned properties together, which Chandler Paquette and myself worked with the assessor's office to get that most recent list.
Okay, P and Z, we just discussed, there's nothing in their December meeting that is germane to us. Grace, Ag Commission,
nothing that we would be interested in. They
Oh, I
were focusing,
I'm
They were-
surprised you're not saying something about Celebrate Ag Day.
and why
thought
would I
that
say
was
anything about celebrating Egg Day?
Oh, because they're having one this year, but it's gonna be in Brooklyn.
Yes, no
think-
kidding.
Old news.
And when I get the date and other things, bring it up. But basically, as far as the Ag Commission was concerned, they were more into and worried about the definitions in the town ordinances about farm stands and farm stores and the difference thereof. But yes, there will be an celebrating Ag Day, but it is not going to be in Woodstock. It's going to be at the Brooklyn Fairgrounds. And it
So-
will be different than it has been in the past.
well, do we get a booth or is that Brooklyn, CC?
Well, there you go.
I would imagine Brooklyn CC unless you ask specifically, but the one of the benefits of having it in Woodstock was it was just a very big Woodstock turnout. I don't know what it will be like in Brooklyn, if it'll be mostly Brooklyn citizens or not.
Exactly. And
Right.
they did discuss that, and it was tabled till their next meeting because they do have a lot of different things they have to, things will be changing. They will not be as they were here with the food availability and other things. So hence the reason, as I say, they are working on it and they're very positive. So
So, I
hopefully it'll
understand.
come off. Huh?
What's Woodstock Ag Commission? How are they involved in a Brooklyn event?
The Ag Commission isn't involved at all.
Okay, so it's not,
People on there, the gal from Linda from Taylor Brook, she's been having the meetings at her place. And as I said, the fact that now it's expanding made some people wonder how much Woodstock was going to be involved or how many people from Woodstock were going to actually take part.
okay,
And we'll just have to see.
right. But at the moment, the Ag Commission, the Woodstock Ag Commission has no
No,
say in this project.
Not
None
a
at
joint
all.
project with Brooklyn and Woodstock, right?
No, it's not a joint project. The
not
Ag
at all.
Not involved. Our Ag Commission's not involved.
Celebrating Agriculture is supposed to be in the area. It just so happened that it was here in Woodstock because they had the availability of the fairgrounds, which was not an option this year. So they had to look for other areas, and the Brooklyn Fairgrounds offered up a very feasible alternative. So it was opted, we just could not do it here in Woodstock.
Okay, any other questions for Grace? So next, stewardship report. I don't think there's anything going on in the dead of winter. Jean, pollinator pathway, anything?
Well, I continue to meet with the regional pollinator pathway group, which includes Woodstock and towns to our west. And right now, we're working on coordinating some pollinator seeds to be purchased or donated. And there's a farm at Yukon where they will start pollinator seedlings, and we can, if we want to, support this effort and ask in exchange that some of the seedlings get directed to us in Woodstock if we have a specific use for them. Last year, I was able to acquire a plot of zinnias that were planted at Roseland Park, which was a beautiful spot in the children's garden. If we wanted to plan something even bigger, or for example, if we chose to participate and celebrate Agriculture Day, we can maybe get some pollinator seedlings to give away. But, you know, that's going to be to an audience that may or may not be Woodstock people. Those are options. But, you know, the group is still active and still planning. I'm trying to decide if I want to have another speaker this year. I was trying to find a new angle to talk about the pollinator pathway. I did reach out to Dave Wagner, who's a professor at UConn, to see if he'd talk about moths, but he's overbooked. He gave me a list of alternative speakers to contact. I haven't followed through with that, but I'd like to put it to the group. What do you think would be a good way to kick off the pollinator pathway season this year?
Is it too late?
Without the, I'm sorry, go ahead, Crystal.
Is it too late to do something in coordination with the Last Green Valley spring events that they do?
Not at
Something-
all. It's
something-
not too late if we wanted to host a spring outdoor event.
Where could we do that?
Roseland Park, probably next to the example of what we've done.
Well, we haven't. We sponsored the Girl Scouts to put in a pollinator garden at
Right.
Roseland Park.
Yeah.
You know, it'd be really nice if we had, you know, the way that we work at the district. If we want to do an outreach event, we like invite people to learn about something, and then we ask them to participate in something. So if we had a place we wanted to plant pollinator plants, you know, talk about it, why we're doing this, and then have plants available so that people can help plant them in the ground. I don't have a specific place in mind to do pollinator planting. That's another reason I wanted to go down to the Beaches Trail to see if there's any place down there that we could get something started, even if it's putting in some milkweed seeds or something. Like I said, we've been doing Zoom meetings, or we actually had an in-person meeting last year. I want to hear from the Conservation Commission. What do you think would be a good kickoff for this year's project? I mean, I keep the Facebook page populated with pollinator information. I picked up a new thing about putting things about street trees. So value of street trees. what do you want to do as a conservation commission? Not just what Gene want to do, but what does the conservation commission want to do?
Well,
Would
it's-
any of the schools be interested, the middle school or grade school even, or the academy in doing some plantings there? That we,
I haven't contacted them to ask that question. That's a possibility. But
But what you just mentioned, Gene, it would, so, we've done it for a year. We're trying to educate Woodstock citizens. If we could, like, come up with a project, like at one of the schools, and maybe have a speaker at the same time and kind of, show people how it's done and, invite people to help when they're there. Kind of roll
Well,
everything in.
But if we were to do a planting,
Yeah.
it would cost us money to buy the plants, which we could probably afford with our budget to get plants to start up, enhance a pollinator garden. But it's, the level of cost will depend on whether we buy seedlings that might not bloom for 2 or 3 years, or if we buy fully developed plants. That's, it's complicated in that respect, that it's not free to just say we're going to plant pollinators someplace. We have to buy them or provide them or get them
Right.
donated or, something.
Well, if we talk to the school, maybe ask Sprucedale Garden, and then we do some upfront layout, and then people who come to the talk ask for a donation, to kind of reimburse it. Just
Well-
throwing it out.
Is there any location where there's a cost savings associated for somebody by doing a pollinator garden? So like somewhere where there's just a difficult area to mow at a school, that it would be easier for them in the long run if there was a pollinator garden there rather than grass? Maybe you need a selling point.
Yeah, well, that's actually, I was just reading a report today about the DOT changing some of their roadside plantings from cool season grasses, which have to be maintained by mowing like weekly, to warm season grasses that only need to be mowed once or twice a year. And that's a huge cost savings. But convincing people that, especially at a school, that having a wild area where their kids play might be a hard sell because they're so worried about the kids getting bit by ticks. So, I mean, there's different ways to look at it.
Yep.
I know that they had a wildflower garden that was started. It's on land that's owned by Roseland Park. It's off of Arvidsson, but I think it needs to get redone because I think it got vandalized or something, but I don't know what's involved with that. But that's, at Roseland Park, if we wanted to try to fundraise and coordinate something with the town to do that, I'm sure Rick would love it. But it'd be a
Hey,
good,
Jean,
yes,
I think I know the person who put that garden in. It was an Eagle Scout project.
right.
Yeah, I just hired that person, ironically. So if we want to go that route, I can connect you back with him and so we can talk about what the original intent was.
So,
But
Beth,
yeah, a lot of these projects need to be maintained. Yeah.
did I remember it being an Eagle Scout project, and I remember talking to Rick about it, and apparently right after it was seeded, we got this really freak cold snap that greatly reduced the number of flowers that were expected. I think I went and saw it a year or two ago, And there were still a lot of flowers and it was very nice, but I don't know that it was as impressive as what had originally been hoped for.
Yeah,
Yeah,
when I went to
Well-
see it, it was mostly such Queen Anne's lace, which is not a native plant.
Oh, no, it was like pinks and blues and different, I think depending on what season, when you go, the different flowers are going to be in bloom. It was definitely not Queen's Anne lace when I was there.
Well, that's the nature of a good pollinator garden, a successive bloom period. So you have everything from spring through, autumn, something in bloom. But I don't know.
I mean, we could check it out. It might be a good opportunity to highlight. We already have something started, and then instead of having to buy a ton of plants, we could buy some plants just to enhance it, so we don't have to start from scratch.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
The other thought I just had was at Goodwin, we got a grant to get the New England Wildflower Society up in Framingham to come down and lead a workshop. And then the grant covered the plants and everything, and they led the workshop basically where the participants planted the pollinator garden. I'm not sure if they still offer those grants. It was relatively easy to get. I can look into it if you want.
That would be awesome. Another grant, when you say grant, is there still a New England Grassroots grant program? We got one of those, God, 20 years ago. That's what we bought the projector with that we don't use anymore because we're meeting via Zoom all the time. But there are small grants that are available. Chelsea Groton Bank has a foundation. So we could apply for a small grant to do a garden if we had a location in mind. But when we plant a garden, we have to bear in mind that the garden has to be maintained. So whoever we put the garden on that property, there has to be some kind of maintenance plan for that garden and someone being assigned responsibility, not me. And there has to be water available because as the plants are becoming established, they do need to get watered.
But I like Beth's idea. If we have something started that, was damaged, we should put our efforts into enhancing it instead of starting from scratch.
Like I said, I was last year, or the year before, I talked to Rick about it. He did say that it was on their list of things that needed to get done, but Rick is very good about working with the local Boy Scout troop to get projects done at the park. So I don't know what the current status of that garden is. I haven't been there in a couple of years. I could ask him.
Yeah, does anyone else have the other locations I can think of is down by the Pond Factory, with the Woodstock portion leading into the trails, or I don't know, the Pink House maybe, may have a
I think
spot.
they have a wildflower
Pink
garden
House
at the
there.
Pink House.
Yeah, but I
Okay.
think that's maintained by their own groups. They've got groups in there that they maintain the gardens, the different ones, or they did. I may be speaking out of turn, but I know I did several years ago, I went on a tour, and they were very proud of the fact that they had the different gardens and they were maintained by the
Okay.
friends of whatever.
Yeah, they have a garden staff, but I know the garden club goes down and helps to plant the knot garden that's out in the front of the barns.
Yeah.
Well, should we involve the garden, club?
Well, the garden club, putting on a different hat, I'm on the civic committee and they do support small, projects. We could request funding for them to help support something, but not a huge amount of money, but we could ask for them to donate towards a project. But we still have to define what the project is. That's the kicker, is we need to have a project before we can do something. And I don't know if putting in a wildflower garden at the town hall would be a good thing to do in the back of the parking lot. You know, that, you know, it's a place where people go. We could put up a garden and some signage about pollinator pathway.
Well, that would
But
be
Well,
nice.
The woods back there, though, are so loaded with invasive species. And my big fear is if no one maintained the garden, it would just become more winged euonymus, bittersweet vine, and other crap that is growing in the woods behind the town hall.
Well, do you want to start by talking to Rick about the project that's in place? Or do we have to come up with something separate?
Well, if we can select a few places we want to explore, I could report back next month of what I discovered. I'm not ready to make a decision which place to go because I don't know what the
Yeah.
needs are.
Well, would you think about the, you know, down the Pond Factory in front of the trail? There's like,
Beth knows that site better than I do. Are you still here, Beth? Yes.
Yeah, I'm still here.
The beginning of the trailhead down by the town beach. Was that an area that had a lot of invasive species? I'm trying to recall.
There's some brambles, I think some multiflora rose, and then there's like almost like a lawn clearing area. And then, yeah, there's definitely invasive, like right when the forest starts.
That's
I-
kind of what I remembered.
Yeah.
And basically, I mean, that would technically be parking, no?
no, not in the, no, that's
the trail.
like behind the bathrooms as you go toward the trail.
Behind the bathrooms is not going towards the trail. The trail entrance is
Yeah.
past the parking lot and the bathrooms.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you
But-
walk past the parking lot and it's a.
But
couple
I was approached by a Girl Scout who's going for her gold award, and she would like to get permission to put in, I can't remember if it was a pollinator garden or a rain garden somewhere near the town beach. So I advised her to first get permission from the Board of Selectmen and then to contact the Conservation Commission. Because I know we've helped, you know,
Good.
Girl Scout troops, you know, we've kind of sponsored and helped and guide them a little bit with that.
So there's another option, Gene.
Mm-hmm. Crystal, was there ever the berm put in that I recommended to redirect the runoff that was washing out the beach?
I don't know. But I haven't seen huge washouts or had complaints of huge washouts.
It was only when you were a rec director and had to personally get out and rake all the erosion gullies, right?
Yeah, well, yeah, but I know like, I was in Michigan twice one summer, like 2 years ago, and both times I was gone, there were huge rainstorms here. That's when, there was a bridge that was washed out, like in Eastford or someplace, and Ashford, and, I didn't get any complaints. I wasn't the rec director at the time, but I would have heard about them. I didn't get any complaints about the beach.
That
So,
storm,
I'm not
believe it
sure.
or not, was so localized. That was in July. I
Yeah,
had friends over and one of my friends had to redirect going home because she couldn't go through Eastford. It hit Eastford, Ashford, and parts of Pomfret really hard.
yeah,
And
I was
and it
literally,
wasn't other places.
I was on Lake Superior, like in the tip of northern Michigan, and my phone is blowing up with all these alerts and road closures and crazy stuff happening.
And you're like, suckers, I'm on vacation.
Okay,
Well,
so
So I
that's,
will, I'll come up with some locations. I'd like to do a hands-on workshop where we talk about pollinators. We give it just, you know, a assortment of plants to tell people why we're choosing the plants we're choosing. And then ask people to help us plant them. I think that would be great. Or,
yeah, I agree.
uh,
That's perfect.
but we got to continue to do this outreach in order to reach more people and get them to sign up to be part of the project.
If you were considering something behind town hall, you might just consider the kind of the walk over towards towards the fields. So you already have you already have some foot traffic there, right? You have a kind of a built-in spot where people are gonna.
I don't know if there's grass though, isn't it? Because there's woods. It's mainly woods though, isn't it? When you walk to the fields from the town hall.
Well, just so right in the back, you have the like I'm just like when you're walking kind of by the solar panels.
Yeah. There's enough cleared land there for,
There's
garden?
more grass at the town hall than there needs to be.
There
Okay.
is grass, but as someone who works for the town hall and is on the beautification committee, like, we don't have the resources, the manpower, the time, the money to take care of someone's project.
Oh, 100%, right. I was kind of thinking where if there's instances where something is maybe a little more self-sustaining than grass.
well,
Yeah.
or if a Girl Scout troop is, you know, involved and is gonna, you know, help take care of it.
Well, usually Girl Scouts have a project to do, they finish it, and then they move on, and the Girl Scout troop does not come back to maintain those projects. The project is left behind for the property owner to manage. So it's been the case of the rain garden at Roseland Park. The park has been managing it with volunteers. And I'm sure that's gonna be the same fate of the pollinator garden they put in.
Okay, I have a possible idea for a location. I've always wanted to see something done with this space. It would require a lot of prep work, but then it's not like in an area where I don't think invasives would come up once they're taken out, but at the elementary school, in the actual compound itself, there are 2 open areas surrounded on all 4 sides by the school hallways that at one point I was told used to have a garden in them and were taken care of. And I mean, I think they're just sitting there. I remember when
Oh, yeah. Yep.
when my son was at the elementary school, I was always like, God, I'd love to see, you know, native flowers and bird feeders there. And I asked someone, and yeah, at one point it had been
Yes.
care of, and then I think there was poison ivy or something, but you know, that's something where once you get whatever's out of there, you've got like a blank canvas to start on.
It's
And
just
you
my-
have the children would take care of it as a project.
Well, only if there was a teacher willing to take it on. I could speak from my experience. I just put in an outdoor classroom space in Putnam Middle School in the courtyard between all the 4 hallways. And when they told me where they wanted that outdoor classroom to get installed and showed me the spot, and I looked at it, and all I could see was bittersweet vine and winged euonymus everywhere. And I was like, oh my gosh, you know, because I was only supposed to put in a kiosk with a whiteboard and some seating areas and some, you know, activities for them to do. And but the first thing that had to happen was to remove all the invasive plants, and the science teacher adopted the project. I've become good friends with him. And he has an after-school ecology club, and they helped with things. And then I got the garden club to help with the actual planting. We ended up putting in a large area of pollinator gardens because we had to do something with all the bare soil that was exposed after we took out all that winged euonymus. But it's going to take someone at the school to say, I want this, and then they will maintain it. Just last week, I finally got 24 logs delivered to the school that the kids could sit on in that area. And the teachers at the Woodstock Elementary School might really appreciate having an option for an outdoor classroom space. I don't have the funding, we don't have the funding to do the level of the project that I just completed in Putnam. But we can do something similar in working with the students and parents. I think there's an active PTO. We could probably get parents involved in helping with the invasive species removal. And then if we were able to get a small grant to buy plants to put in there for pollinator gardens that the kids can use as an outdoor learning space, and get one of our local, tree management people to donate some log stools. We could do that in Woodstock. I just can't at work direct my efforts in Woodstock because we're not an underserved community. We're not poor. So the grants that are available are not for towns like Woodstock, unfortunately.
Okay, we got to, we still have a lot of stuff to cover, so we got some ideas, the town hall, the elementary school, the town beach. So we'll we'll talk about this next month.
Does anybody have any contacts at the Woodstock Elementary School?
Not anymore.
Same here. My youngest is 25.
I would contact the office or, and talk to Jenna, the principal.
Thanks, Crystal. Okay, anything sustainable Connecticut, Crystal?
Yeah, I want to clear up, like, that's not my project. I'm just, I'm just the liaison,
I'm giving you credit.
but
You're the point person.
yeah, but I'm not like rounding up people to make it happen. I don't have the time for that. So per Sustainable Connecticut rules, you need to have a liaison who is an employee of the town, which I am.
Yes.
But then that doesn't mean I'm the one doing all the work, but I
No,
do.
no, of course.
So
But you're our point person on our conservation commission.
yeah, I did speak to someone about who wants to do some things around the community. And we talked about some things that she has on her to-do list and how she might be able to go about working with Sustainable Connecticut to accomplish what she wants to do. And so I'll be talking with her again when she has time. I did put the link in the chat for the Sustainable Connecticut February calendar of events that they're doing, if anyone's interested. And that is where we're at.
So let me ask you this, Crystal, the Pollinator Pathway Garden Project, is that something that Sustainable Connecticut
Yes, and I'm
Okay.
supposed to be updating this on the website, and I
Yes.
lost all
Well,
the
for a
information
grant.
for
And
logging it in.
I did last year make Jean and another person, Amy Monahan, I did give them permissions to go on Sustainable Connecticut and update with the various things they were working on.
So, I mean, Gene, you think they would give us anything?
We could apply for funding, and
Yeah.
when you apply for funding from Sustainable Connecticut, there's a
You also need the
requirement that you
donation.
need to get donations from the
It-
community to
yeah,
support it.
It's a community match grant, so it's
Right.
not like the
Right.
town or a commission can just give them $500 and they'll match the 500. It has to come from donations, I believe.
Right, correct. But if we have the talk and we ask donations from people at the talk, if the Girl Scouts are involved, maybe they could do, or at the elementary school, maybe the kids would do a fundraising thing for it. So
Mm,
I don't.
yeah,
know.
no.
No, I
Don't
think it
think
has
so.
to be tied
Well, how about the
to
Girl
directly
Scouts?
To the elementary school.
not the Girl Scouts either.
No, they're too busy, preoccupied with the cookies.
Okay. Well, donation for the talk. Any questions for Crystal? So because I want to give time for the review the Eversource meeting, and
Yeah.
hopefully, Beth, did you have a chance to review the stuff from Jay that I forwarded to everybody?
Unfortunately, I have not had a chance to look it over.
I have it on my computer, and if I can screen share, I'd be happy to share it with everybody.
Well, I think everybody has it.
It appears to me that they've identified a new problem area that includes Bradford Corner Road, which is one of our town designated scenic roads. And the people on that road fought tooth and nail to get that designation because it's a tree lined street, and they didn't want the town public works department digging up the side of the road because that would destroy the tree roots and all this. So, I mean, so it's only a part of the road. Can I share my screen? This one. This is the new map that they sent. So the blue line that goes across is Route 171. And oh, that's Bungie Hill. Yeah, Bradford Corner, Bungie Hill. Okay, so between I'm trying to understand that. I see Bungie Hill Road and I see Bradford Corner Road. So I guess just from 171 up to Bradford Corner Road or somewhere in that vicinity, that map is very difficult to understand. They've discovered a new problem area where they would go and remove hazard trees, and they're very careful to italicize hazard trees without defining what a hazard tree is. Is a hazard tree the one that's 80 feet tall? It's 60 feet away from the power lines that could fall on the power lines in the future, or is a hazard tree one that's dead or dying or high risk of getting disease? I don't know, but I just thought I'd share that with you. That's what we got today, this new
Jean,
map.
does it say that that is part of their resiliency project, or are they just telling us about some more tree trimming they're doing?
Let me see if I can find the letter. Nope, that's that. Okay, see if I can share this one. This one is this is how they worded it. They've identified 45 segments of the electrical system. Poor performing device segment has been identified in your town. As a result, we plan to conduct an assessment in the poor performing device area to complete additional tree work. This work may involve removing hazardous trees outside our normal clearance zone. But we will not complete any work without permissions.
Okay.
So it's not entirely clear, but it does look like what it does is extend up that intersection of Bradford Corner Road to where Bungie Hill splits off. That map is, like I said,
Yeah,
very
it looks
difficult
like
to read.
it looks like they're talking about the area near the library and the church there.
Yeah, right where it splits,
Mhm,
it splits, yeah.
That triangle, basically.
It looks like it's also going up 171 farther than what they originally were
It
planning
does, yes.
for the resiliency project.
That's right, Laura, you're correct. The original resiliency project, I thought, went to Bradford Corner Road, but
It-
now it's extended beyond that.
Yes, yes.
So when they had said they had gotten, what, 75% of,
No, they
people that-
notified 75% of the people on Route 169. They did not get
the
permission.
71, 171?
Oh, no.
No, 171 was only at like 5%.
Yeah,
169, they notified people before they shared the map with us where they were outreaching to people, which I kind of told them I didn't like too much because we missed an opportunity to do a direct mailing to those homes.
Mhm, yep.
So anyway, so yeah, it looks like we have additional areas that are in the project area. So what would be the wish of the Conservation Commission in how I continue to share this information with people in Woodstock? All I've been doing is putting up general like this is a really good thing to do in terms of like maintaining trees on the streets. It calms the traffic, it reduces noise pollution, and I produce statistics. But, you know, I have limited time that I can work on this because I have so many different groups I'm involved with that all expect me to give equal time. And, you know, what do we need to do? We've kind of got the message out. We try to get people to know that they have the right to say no. I think that's the big message. I don't know that we've reached them. There were, what did we see? 26 people at the meeting. But of those 26 people at the meeting,
There were
29
6. Yeah,
20
or 28
There
or
was-
20.
there
well,
were 6 from conservation and there were 5 from
Eversource.
Eversource. So, you know, take those out and go from there.
But then Crystal recorded the meeting and I put a link to the YouTube video up on the Facebook page, and I shared our Facebook page with the 2 Woodstock main Facebook chat groups. And I've been getting responses, you know, every once in a while saying they could take down all the trees. I just don't want my power to go out. But then you get
Yeah.
people saying, thank you for sharing. I really appreciate you informing us, you know, that kind of thing. So were you guys following the chat during that presentation?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
Yes,
I thought you're doing great, Jean, with responding to people in a very, you know, calm manner. One of the things that I noticed from several of the comments, I don't think everybody is clear that this is not the usual Eversource tree trimming projects. I know you've said it and there's been posts about it, but a lot of people seem to still have a misunderstanding about that. They think that this is just more tree trimming by Eversource and that we're rebelling.
And
You're
yes,
right. I saw a lot of people responding that way on the Facebook.
So
page.
it's, they
They
have
thought
to,
it was-
somehow the message, I don't know how it could be made more clear that this is not the usual tree trimming project, that this is different. It's not what some people think.
has anybody got skills with Photoshop to take some pictures of some of our roadsides and then remove the trees from the sides of the roads? I'm very alarmed about their idea that they don't need a wetlands permit to clear cut a riparian zone in a cold water stream. I am, that just had me, my blood was boiling that they said, well, we don't need a permit. Well, everybody in town would need one. That's just ridiculous. The services those trees perform along the side of the river are so numerous, and people just take it for granted. But we have downstream flooding problems and we don't want to add to it. And by removing the trees, you're going to allow greater velocity of water downstream, which is just going to make those flooding problems worse.
Well,
So Jean, I
that's
think that's,
the power of the words that you use. You don't, maybe you don't talk about cutting down trees. You talk about clear cutting trees, right? You don't talk about spraying chemicals. You talk about polluting the water supply. So, you know, the message is not a message that everybody cares to hear. There's not enough people who are saying, yes, I'm very concerned with, you know, with native plants, or I'm concerned with the ecology of the area. Those are big words that I don't care about. And I don't mean me personally, but in general, people want to hear that their hunting is going to be impacted and that their fishing is going to be impacted. And geez, what's going to be the impact on flooding on my property or the
Woodstock Fairgrounds.
Yeah, right. Or the chemical that's going to go into my well water. That stuff that they're spraying is not good stuff. And you know, they can say, hey, we're going to follow all the rules we want. But I had the basic cutting a couple of years ago, and I opted to be present. And I'd said, hey, listen, no chemicals on my property. And I had to stop the guy because he just didn't get the order somehow.
Hmm.
So that's, I mean, it's how you message it. It's
Yeah.
or how you what you choose to focus on in messaging.
There's just if I got started, I can give whole lectures on this. Oh, I do that for a living. So that I do try to choose my words carefully. I know there's words that work and words that don't work. But in the confines of that meeting, I didn't have time to do a whole educational presentation, which is what I think we can do day by day by posting on our Facebook page. But I'm running out of material. And if anybody has ideas of where to get cute little memes that we can put up on our Facebook page that talk about the importance of streamside vegetation, please share them with me and make it easier for me if I'm going to continue to do this outreach.
Gene, would you consider, so nothing's gonna happen to the spring, right? So,
No, they said the end of February.
Hmm.
I don't know if anybody else caught that, but I did.
For 169.
They said they would be able to
Yeah.
start cutting at the end of February. So,
Grace,
Well-
didn't they say that they wanted to make sure that they touched base with several of the homeowners first before they began, or especially
oh,
along-
yes, they're going to
what
touch
they-
base, but I guess, I don't remember the exact, I guess they said something like 75%. But what caught me was that they would be ready to start doing cutting by the end of February.
What they
Which-
said was, they're going section by section, and they want to get in touch with all the property owners on a section, and then they'll start that section. And so
Okay,
they're closest, they're at the 75% notification on the 169 section.
okay.
And I think that Child Road will be second.
so
and
so what we can
171
do,
third.
what we can do is like in 2 months, have pictures of what they actually did. Because,
Yeah.
you know, if it looks bad, we have pictures, and we, you know, send postcards or, you know, notify everybody actually on the road who's going to be affected, you know, in the future projects. Because, you know, then, you know, we get directly to the people who are going to be effective, and we can show them what Eversource did, you know, to begin with.
No, I feel really bad that we didn't have an opportunity to contact the property owners along Route 169 that are in
Yeah.
that project area. And it
But-
seems to extend all the way into Pomfret.
Right, but lesson
Yeah.
learned, and, you know, we may lose that one battle, but, you know, if we, you know,
It's a national scenic byway. It's a big battle. I think that's where we need to stand our ground the hardest.
right, but it's too late. If they got 75%,
They don't have permission.
Permission.
They've notified 75%. They've not gotten the permission from those people. We missed an opportunity just to give our side of the situation to that population because they failed to give us the property map so we can make that contact list and do a direct mailing. Maybe that's something we want to consider doing. Is
Gene,
continuing.
I think we need to be very vigilant as well in terms of trying to get these notifications, because look what happened. First, there was no map that showed the extent of the 169. Then now today comes a map with completely new area. This is 2 huge sections that haven't been notified. There may be more.
okay, so for in the near future, we know where they're going to begin with. Can we, you know, Beth, can you Xerox your, you know, informative letter, and we just, you know, put the letter in the mailbox of everybody along 169 who's going to be affected? I thought they'd said okay, but if they haven't said okay yet, then we have time.
I can certainly send a new letter. But
I think
Yeah.
that's the best we can do in the next, before the end of February. I think that's, the best we can do is, we know where they're going. These are the people who they're going to go to. At least give them our side of the story.
yes, and I think we should keep posting on Facebook, obviously, and keep getting the word out there. I do want to do some targeted outreach. I think, letters are great, but they end up in a lot of people's recycle bin. But obviously, we don't all have time to call or talk to everybody on these roads, but I think that we should pick some hotspots.
Right.
Like ecological hotspots, or like the tree in front of Coco's closet, right? Like those are the
They're not going to
properties-
touch Woodstocks are not going to allow that tree.
Well, in the dialogue on the Facebook feed, the David Miller contributed that he owns Coco's Cottage, but there's a marker on the property that shows where his property line ends and the state DOT owns the property. And in his assessment, the tree is owned by the state DOT, not David Miller.
We'll get protesters to
Well, there were people who said, if you start a petition, I'll sign it and I will help get signatures on it. But I don't have the ability to take on all the responsibilities. If
Right.
someone-
So Gene,
Yeah.
the most important thing is the targeted mailing to where they're going before the end of February. That's our next battle. Then
Okay.
maybe sometime in March, have another public, meeting where we actually invite the next section of people. And we just keep rolling and inviting, try to stay one step ahead of Eversource and invite the people who are going to be affected.
Yeah.
And if
what I
they
was
decide they
saying
want the
too-
trees down, we did our best.
Well,
what I was meaning too about targeted is actually like on that 169 route, if there's areas that would be harmed because they're wetland, et cetera, like we make calls to people and just say, hey, just wanted you to know, blah, like I'd be willing to do that. I'd be happy to do that. On Route 171, I have, obviously we have watershed areas all in this area. So I want to talk to all my neighbors.
Okay, well, we're running low on time, unfortunately, because we have to do the election of officers.
Well,
but-
this is a major issue, Lee, and I think that we need to come up to like next steps. Who's going to do what between now and the next meeting?
Beth is going to write a letter, copy the letter, and can you put it in the mailboxes of the targeted where Eversource is targeting next?
Are you talking
am
about
I
Beth
allowed to-
driving around, dropping them in people's mailboxes, or doing a mailing like we've done before?
Whatever's easier for her.
Am I legally allowed to put? things
No,
in
you're
people's
not. Not at all. It
Okay.
is totally illegal to put anything in a mailbox.
Okay, so we have to
Don't
do
do
a mailing.
So
Yeah.
Jim
So
Jim was the one to put together the mailing list based on the parcel map that was up on the NECOG website. And unfortunately, between then and now, the town's changed who has our GIS. I'm not as familiar with working with the new GIS in town. I was going to bring that up later. It might not be as easy to get a complete list unless there's somebody at the town hall who can run one off quickly. If we give them a range of addresses. But I don't know if that's possible.
Well, we have on the map where they're actually going. So you just have to take a car and go starting here. What's the house number? And it goes to this house number.
What
I mean,
about
it can't be
Google-
more
what
than
about-
like two
what about Google
dozen
Maps?
houses.
Not only that, you can go into the Vision website and just put in the name of the road and it'll give you by the numbers and of the owners.
Yeah,
That
we, then we
Visions,
just,
whatever it is.
yeah, then we
It
just
would,
send a letter.
I mean, that's, it would be really helpful for me if someone could just send me a list.
Right. What
And
not that
Jim
I-
did for Beth was like, he made an Excel spreadsheet with the name of the property owner, the street address, and of course, the town and zip code. And on the GIS in Woodstock, if you, on NECOG, if they used the PO box, that information, their mailing address was available there. Like I said, I don't know how the new system works. And when he gave that to Beth, Beth was able to take that information and do a mail merge in Word and generate address labels, which he then just peeled onto the envelopes. And that's a big undertaking in itself. But, we're talking about certain people doing a lion's share of the work and other people saying, yeah, we should do this, but nobody's saying, I can help do this part. And I'm asking for people to take on parts. So it's not the
All right,
same
so you
people.
need to design the parts, Gene.
No,
In other
no, this
words,
is,
if you don't know how to use the GIS with NECOG, it's not any good.
Well, it's not
Okay.
NECOG anymore. That's why I don't know how to
Hey.
use it.
oh, look, we're making this too difficult. All you
Yeah.
need is starting at Route 69, House 10, and just drive to the next spot where on the map, and everybody in between, you send owner with the house number and the address. That we don't need
Yeah,
the name
I
of the
mean,
owner. We just need
there's-
owner at this address.
there's a good chance, like, I could certainly do that and get most of the people. I may miss the people that don't have mailboxes because it's open space. Or whatever, it's like but I could do that. I'd prefer to use like the NECOG maps and figure out who owns every single section, but yeah. Like, I'll do what I have to do. I just.
Yeah,
it
you
was-
don't need the owner, you just need the address.
Well, again, that's where you're not going to get the people who use PO boxes for
But they
their
still
mail.
all, I thought the fire marshal requires them to have their address out in front somehow.
Well,
with
you're supposed to
box.
have but if they don't get their mail delivered to the house, they're not going to get it.
No,
If you
No,
address
ma-
it to a mailbox, but it's a PO box, they won't get that mail.
So
no,
just
but it'll
as
still
an
get to the
example-
mailbox there. There'll be
Just
a
as an
mailbox
example,
with a
Lee,
street address.
You don't have to have a mailbox if you have a PO box. You
Oh,
just have to
okay,
have an address posted.
okay.
When I got the last list, some of the addresses were actually like Wyndham Land Trust, which was not on 171, but they owned the property. So there were some addresses off the road because it was people who just like own the property. But there's like no house on it or,
And their
That makes
mailing
sense.
address is somewhere totally different. Sometimes the mailing.
Do you,
address in
do you
Cal-
have an account of how many letters you sent out, Beth?
I can look at, it was around 140
Okay.
maybe.
Not to be a downer in here, but I got at least 20 undelivers back,
Yeah.
just because, for whatever reason. I'm not 100% sure, but just know that, that's going to happen also. Again, the
Well,
same thing that they're going to run into when they put hangers on the doors. Are people
So-
going to get it?
Look, we're gonna do the best we can here.
Right.
Yeah, well,
If if anybody can get me a list, I would really appreciate it. But if no one is able to do that, then I'll figure it out.
Crystal put a link up on the chat on how to get the addresses from accessgis.com, which is the new Woodstock GIS. So
Yeah,
Well,
there's a
there.
search bar.
Thanks, Crystal.
So I just entered Route 169 and it just picked a house near the academy. And then you can just scroll down 169 and then you can use the plus
Yeah.
and minus keys to, and it'll, click on a property. So the next house down is 582 Route 169. You
Mhm.
know, this is all up by the academy. I haven't scrolled to South 169, but you know,
Yeah.
this GIS is, you know, has the street addresses. It won't help us for zip, you know, PO box people, but there you go.
Okay, is anybody willing to go through that and grab addresses, or should I plan to do it?
I can do.
What'd you say, Jason?
I'm happy to do that. I can do that and put it on an Excel.
Great.
and send it
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Jason.
That's a huge help. Like I said, many hands make light work.
Yeah.
If anybody, again, has time to do looking around for different short messaged information about the importance of street trees or trees to protect our rivers and why they do it. And you can send them to me by email, and I can use them on our Facebook page. If you just keep repeating the message, eventually people are gonna like say, "Oh, that makes sense." I mean, who would have thought that if you had trees in your front yard, the motorcycles wouldn't vibrate your windows as much as they go by? But that's what's gonna happen if all those trees get taken down. The noise pollution in those homes are gonna be increased.
So we're targeting the 169 spot. Jason's gonna get a list. Beth, you got the letters going.
Yep.
Send us the money it costs for postage. Jean, get ready like in March to target whatever the next area we think they're gonna go. And, you know, we'll put on another virtual meeting. And, you know, we just have to stay one step ahead of Eversource. At least with the education. Now, if the homeowners side with Eversource, we did our best, but.
And unfortunately, you are going to have, you saw that on some of the, in the chat. People.
I don't think
that
they
just said,
understood it all.
No, they don't. And unfortunately,
And they just say Conservation Commission, tree huggers, whatever they have to say.
There you go.
Well, one of the person accused me of fear mongering when I brought up the elm tree at Coco's Cottage, because that's not anywhere near the power lines. And the point we need to make is, you know, somebody sent a picture of the tree and you can see the power lines behind it. It doesn't have to be touching the power lines. It has to be able to fall on the power lines. That's all that. And so if anybody has the time to go down to that tree and see how far it is to that electric pole that's in the background, and report on it, that would be helpful to me to say, hey, look, if this tree can fall on the power lines, Eversource might want to take it down. And if we want to protect it, we need to do something. And I think we need to petition DOT to protect that notable tree in our town.
We have some time for that. Okay, we have to move
Do
on.
you want me to?
I have one more comment, sorry.
Yes, go back.
Keep us longer, but just in terms of the right of way, the town right of ways, there's quite a few areas that, you know, if the town tree warden gave permission, then a lot of trees could still be cut in a wetland area. So could we reach out to the town tree warden?
Crystal's already.
Yeah, I'm working on that, and I can either invite him to the next meeting. I'm going to email him the link of the meeting we had last week, and maybe he'll come to the next public Zoom event that we do.
Perfect. Thank you. Yeah, have him come to a meeting or.
Yes, we got that base covered.
Or do we want to have a special meeting to have a conversation with this person?
Well, if he can come to our next conservation meeting, that would be nice. But you were going to invite him, right, Crystal?
Yeah, if he can come to the next meeting, then we can put that on the agenda.
Yeah.
When would you like that, Beth, that list of addresses? I don't know if I heard a timeline.
I guess in the next week or two. I mean, the sooner the better, probably, because they're pretty far ahead on their 169 outreach.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
That's
probably this week.
So I'm happy to use that site and pull pull down the addresses, is the map somewhere? So I can I'm a little late to the party, so can someone just tell me what the streets are, or if someone has the map so I can use this tool effectively? Or email it to me later. I don't need
I
it.
can, yeah, I'll email you the map that Eversource sent us last week.
That we
Awesome.
just got last week.
Yeah.
Jason,
Thank
could you put your email address in the chat? Because unless it's in the big group when I hadn't noticed
It is.
Thank you, Grace.
Yeah, it's in the big group. Okay. It's time for elections of officers.
Not it.
It's more, and she doesn't know it. So currently, I'm president, Maura's vice president, and Grace is secretary and treasurer. That's so the floor is open. You know, are there any nominations? Anyone interested? Because we
Can
need-
I
nominate
think my
Christina
sound must be
Jews?
off. I didn't hear anything. No.
Well, for new people, I'm not saying Jason because you're so new, but when I first started, I found it to be very helpful to figure out what was going on in the Conservation Commission when I was the secretary for a period of time and wrote up the meeting notices, meeting agendas and meeting notes and everything. And, it really helped me get up to speed. I've had that position. I've been chairperson and I've been vice chairperson. The only position I haven't taken was treasurer. So, I'm encouraging other people to step up. Lee, you're doing a fine job as chairperson, but if you want someone else to step up, you should say so.
Yeah, I mean, the floor is open. I'm still interested, but like Jean said,
If anybody else
floor
is
open,
interested.
if anyone else is
Okay,
interested.
so floor is open, and if nobody else is interested, I will try to persevere as secretary and treasurer. More is
Well,
not here.
So it'd be really nice if somebody could do secretary or treasurer. So Grace doesn't have to do both, and Grace is also our representative on the Ag Commission.
On occasion, no.
I'm going to
So-
email Maura and tell her she's about to get elected chair to see if she pops them into the meeting.
I threatened her at the gym, so
Yeah,
She's still-
really.
So we need a formal nomination, and then we have to vote. So does anyone want to throw their hat in? My God. Okay, Grace, do you have a nomination? Let's hear your nomination, Grace.
Okay, I nominate the slate as it stands for the next year. How's that?
Okay, is there a second?
Second it. George.
Okay, the floor remains open. Does anyone else have any comments or nominations? Jean, you want to take over again?
No.
You want to give it to Jim again?
I'm on another commission. I'm on a board with Jim, so I know he's tapped out.
Okay, so
All
the nominations are closed, so we'll vote on the entire slate. So all those in favor of the slate is proposed, say aye.
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 Okay, more importantly, anyone opposed? Okay, any abstentions? So that passes.
Okay.
Anyone attend
Congratulations.
work?
And thank you to those people who are willing to serve.
Yes,
Uh,
thank you.
Any, I still want Bet to do it, Gene.
Yeah,
I
right.
mean, you did it, I did it. Bet was supposed to do it.
Yeah.
Okay, anyone attend any workshops in the last month? Or anyone have any workshops
Oh, wait a minute.
that are coming up?
Coming up. Not a
There's a,
workshop, but the the flower show is going on the end of February. And there'll be a lot of representatives, especially SIPWIC, which is the Connecticut Invasive Plant Working Group. We are always very well represented there. And there are a lot of other conservation-minded and flower people at that. So if anybody's interested, that's at the Convention Center in Hartford. It's from February 24th through the 27th, I think. So.
Okay, moving on to, so Jason, we always end the meeting by going around the table and seeing if anyone else has anything to add. So Jean, open discussion. You have anything to bring up?
Yes, I brought it up already. Apparently, the town of Woodstock no longer is hiring NECOG to do their parcel map, and they've hired a new organization, and it looks like it's Axis GIS, because Crystal put a link in the chat about it.
The company is CAI Technologies. It was discussed at a Board of Selectmen meeting last summer. Both the ZEO and the assessor's office wanted to go with this new company for various reasons. And I spoke with someone at the company, and at some time in February, he's going to give me a date where he's going to offer to come down and do a training session on how to use the new GIS, and that'll be open to anyone. And once I get that date and time, I'll be putting it out to all boards and chairs and the public. And, you know, but like I have no experience with GIS, but I just went on and was able to, you know, search what I wanted to search and find what I needed to find. And yeah, so that there were reasons why the change was made.
Okay, I just want to have more time to work with it before I do plan to attend that training if I'm available. My first encounter with it was after I found out that NECOG didn't do the parcel map when I was trying to look up the Wyndham Land Trust property on Route 171, and the parcel boundaries that are in that map for Wyndham Land Trust are they're not right. And so I shared that with Andy Reznikevich at Audubon, who works for Wyndham Land Trust too. And he agreed that the parcel boundaries aren't right and the open space data is way out of date. And I want to look at some other natural resource data that's on there, because we use this map a lot for our development review committee. And I just want to make sure if we have an opportunity to add data to it to make it more useful to the Conservation Commission, that we have that opportunity.
That's why I facilitated bringing this person in to come and do a workshop about the GIS. But there were issues with the other GIS system with things not being updated in a timely manner. And that and some other reasons were why this one was advocated for by the zoning and assessor's office.
Okay. I mean, I'm sure they had their just reasons, but I want to make sure that when we get a product, it's one that's useful for what we need to do with it. Because we're users too. You know, I'd love if we can get locally important farm soils on that map, because it's incredible.
All right.
All right, so that's
you,
one
Crystal.
of my other things. Sorry, Lee. I'm sorry if there's a program on TV you're rushing to get to.
I haven't eaten dinner yet.
At the last Thames River Basin Partnership meeting, Eric McPhee from the Department of Public Health gave a presentation on a new mapping application, online mapping application that is going to be very useful for towns and land trusts or anybody who's planning for open space acquisition, because especially in areas upstream of drinking water supplies, because it goes through all the parcels over a certain size and ranks them with their protective measures if they were to maintain open space on those properties versus if they were to be developed. It's not ready for the public to use yet, but it's probably going to get released in spring. So I will continue to push that out to people as a tool,
What's the
planning
name of
tool.
that, Jean? That's not Avenza, is it?
No, no.
Okay.
This is a project that was done, it was commissioned by the Department of Public Health Drinking Water Division, and UConn Center for Land Use Education and Research actually did the project, and they're just fine tuning the last bits of it before they roll it out for public review in later this spring.
Okay.
Thanks, Gene. More? Gene? Number 3?
No,
Oh, Gene's done. Okay, Jordan.
I wonder what's going on with the gas station in town. Looks like they got approved somehow.
Well, they were approved a few years ago. They just started they started actually doing the
Yeah.
project.
So
We reviewed it a couple of years ago.
It's gonna
is it
be a
2 years
beautiful
already?
building.
Hmm?
I remember reviewing what happened to our problems and our issues.
I think they addressed them. They made there's only 2, they made less pumps, they took care of the lighting. That was our main issues.
Yeah, okay. Thank you. That's all I got.
Jean, did we ever find out if there's actually a burial ground there? Or was that Jean who brought that up? I don't remember.
I did bring it up. It was on the 1883 map, the town of Woodstock, that there's a burial ground in that area. And I did recommend that they have an archaeological review. I do not know if that happened.
Yeah, we made recommendations but it was approved a few years ago. Crystal,
Nope.
Lori,
Nothing dead.
Mr. Ray Morgan, do you have anything to add? Pam?
No?
You can talk. Do you think they can hear me now?
Yes, Ray.
Oh, hey, no, you guys had a very good conversation tonight. I'm just listening in on it. Thank you very
Okay.
much.
Thanks for joining us. Pam, you said no. Jason, anything?
No, nothing to add. Thank you.
We haven't overwhelmed you and you want to quit yet?
Grace?
Nuh-uh, he can't quit. He's been appointed.
Yeah.
He's
Grace?
ours.
Grace?
No. No, nothing else.
Beth?
Nothing on my end.
Okay.
Can
So
I ask a
just
question of Lori? Lori,
Yes.
did you and Maura start doing the salt watch in Bungie Brook yet?
I haven't done it, and this is on my hit list for the next interval. It will be done.
Thank you.
Okay, Jason, just to let you know, in my 18 or so years on the commission, this is the longest meeting we've ever had.
Oh, all right.
We
We're
typically
really
don't go.
less than an hour. Yeah.
Typically we're done much quicker. We just had a lot of subjects that we had to talk about.
Oh, good, because I thought my budget was a little bit off. So
Anything else for the good of the order? And if not, do I hear a motion to adjourn?
Motion
So
is-
moved.
Okay, we
Crystal
did it.
Adams, I second it.
Okay. Thank you, everybody. This was great. I think we're doing a good job. And we'll see you all next month.
Have
Keep
a good
sending
night.
me those tree facts.
Free facts.
Tree
Yeah.
facts.
Bye.